Generation 1. They just don't make them like before, do they? Nowadays all that matters is marketing, profit, and pleasing the furries. Those darn woke liberals ruin our game with their furry propaganda. Just look at these terrible, boring, and unoriginal designs. A rock with feet? What's next? A rock with ears? A Pokemon based on a gear whose evolution just adds another gear? A goddamn cactus? And a literal walking trash bag with a face that becomes an even bigger piece of garbage? Don't even get me started on the godforsaken ice cone. What happened to the good old days? When did it all go wrong? Where is the essence? Nothing can beat the originals. That's why I decided to beat Pokemon White 2 using all the Pokemon from Generation 1. I decided on this game because people call it the best Pokemon game ever. Like, hello, sheeple? This exists. You could not recognize a masterpiece even if it slapped you in the face. I am also using these hardcore Nuzlocke rules for the challenge, because it seems today that these games are easy enough for an unborn infant to breeze through them. I still remember being stuck on Brock's gym for days with my Charmander. Those were the days. I wonder if I'll be able to get an Onix. That was peak Pokemon design. It really showed just how strong it was. Our journey starts in Asperia City. Of course, we are city boys. They don't even know the hardships of not having local stores or healthcare while being completely surrounded by aggressive Pokemon. When I was their age, I had to go grab groceries for my widowed mother uphill, both ways, 26 hours a day, on one foot and battling Pokemon barehanded. I left the house and met our rival Hugh. What a letdown, honestly. When you compared him to good old Blue, where's the shit talking? Where's the sass? How am I supposed to feed my humiliation get invested in this rivalry without that? The professor's assistant was looking at the scenery from the outlook, and I'll have to say, she's probably the best thing in this game so far. Those were the teenage hormones talking.
That's disgusting.
But she does look oh my goodness, they're hideous! Well, at least the pig can be emergency food. I don't even feel like fighting with my beta-ass rival. Come on, it's literally just a pig. They didn't even try. Instead of this awful joke of a Pokemon, I pulled out my phone and contacted an old friend of mine that works in Silphco back in Kanto so I could get my hands on a Porygon. Of course, our literal electric warrior won't evolve. Not like I would want him to. I don't want a smooth-brained dog or whatever this thing is. We can finally leave this godforsaken city and head to Route 19. Get taught how to catch Pokemon. Bitch, please. I was already catching them all before you were even conceptualized. Hey man, don't do it. I know it's a dog shit game, but it's not worth it. There he goes. Fuck me, I survived again. Again? Who are you, fucking Kaido? I'm not getting paid enough to be a therapist. I'm not even getting paid at all. Subscribe.
I mean, I was a businessman doing business.
As you may imagine, a Porygon at this point completely steamrolls all the trainers, even our boring rival Hugh and his Oshawott, and on their level 2. Go wild, King. Okay, maybe not that wild. After completely and utterly destroying our rival's water starter, we could get one of our very own, a classic and widely beloved Psyduck. What is there not to love about this little guy? Cute, funny, iconic, and almost as dumb as me. Well, that being said, he's not a great Pokemon, albeit his extraordinary feats in the anime. That's why we needed to get Porygon as our starter. Being on challenge mode, where every major trainer has its difficulty increased, also did not help his case. We had to save a kidnapped dog from a knockoff Team Rocket grunt with validation problems. Of course I don't know who the fuck you are, wannabe. Go cry to your mother for some love. Don't worry, I've already taken out the trash. Thank you so much for saving my hair, dear. A terrier, huh? I'm sure they thought long and hard to make this one. I have no joke for this part. I genuinely hate the elemental monkeys. I'm not putting on a character or exaggerating a joke. I hope they cease to exist. And good thing is, so far that's basically what happened. Let's hope it stays that way. Filthy monkeys. Collecting medals. Go away, you fucking nerd. Look, I've decided I don't really care actually. Jump if you want to. I don't think I can show this on YouTube. But I doubt he'll need these orange berries anymore. And of course, we had to go to school. These city boys and their schools. Back in my day, schools were not even invented. We used to be so much smarter before. We didn't need those. But the current generation's brain have been ruined by TikTok. The trainers in the gym were no problem for knighting Minecraft armor, leaving only the gym leader, Cheren. Since we're in challenge mode, not only does he have an extra Pokémon, he also has an Oranberry on his ace. Cheren sent up a Trat and I sent our boy Porygon, who I edged through very legal means to almost level 15. As Saber takes half from Patrat as he retaliates with a tackle. I could get rid of him next turn, but I decided to take this opportunity to use Conversion 2. This changes the user's type randomly to one that either resists or is immune to the last move that hit them, becoming a rock type, making the following tackle do a measly 3 HP while Saber finishes Patrat. Next is his ace Lillipup, who starts strong by going for a Work Up to increase his attack. Meanwhile, Saber leaves him with around a quarter, but an Oranberry brings him back above half. A bite does 10 HP, but thankfully, with no flinch, a second Saber takes care of him. Last was speed off, but since we resist all of his attacks, he goes for Work Up, and next turn a quick attack still does nothing to our cobblestone Porygon, and the pigeon falls, winning us the battle and the first gym badge without even dropping to half HP. Pathetic. With one badge under our belt and a useless TM, it's time to move on. Once we left the Pokemon school, Bianca congratulated us on our victory with an actually useful TM, Return. Now we can finally leave this city to never return again, beat up some children in Minecraft, and arrive to Birkbank City, where the second gym is located. Boy, I sure don't care about none of that. I don't want to get involved in an argument between father and daughter. I have enough with being an abandoned child myself. My own father has given me enough problems. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same. Heading south, there's the Birkbank complex, but if you first go down these stairs and around the water, you'll find this narrow opening where there is a hidden silk scarf to boost normal type moves. Back to the Birkbank complex, we can find our third encounter further on, a Magnemite, the perfect Pokemon for the upcoming gym thanks to its steel type. Though, unfortunately, or I guess luckily, Magnemite won't be needed, as once again, Porygon is here to sweep the gym leader's entire team. Foxy's Coffin gets hit by a Psybeam that gets just shy of outright being a one-hit KO, though a held Oranberry brings her back to the yellow. Her Venoshock doesn't particularly do much damage, and the berry brought her just out of range for Roxie to heal her, which means that Porygon now can go for a conversion too, getting lucky and changing into a steel type, so he's straight up immune to poison now. And now all of her team gets completely obliterated by Porygon's Psybeams, once again not even being brought down to half, getting another easy badge.
Leave me alone!
Oh no, guys, the footage for the Pokestar Studios part got corrupted. Whatever should I do?
We do not care.
Fortunately, the part where I kicked the butt of some Team Rocket wannabe grunts stayed intact, as well as that time that I played hide and seek, though I wish that one didn't. Why did I have to do that again? Oh yeah, both. Since we took care of those thugs, the local captain took us on his boat to Castilla City, after his career as an actor didn't pan out super well for him. Wow! I can taste the pollution destroying my lungs and I just got here. Huh, that's a weirdly suspicious boat. Actually, that's a frigate. Nerd! Castilla City has some big upgrades for our team of glorious Gen 1 Pokémon thanks to the sewers, where we had to team up with our pathetic rival to take out some grunts, but before doing that I decided to explore the sewers while exploiting him to heal our Pokémon. I also bought some repels to avoid potentially losing the encounter here because of our rival. The most important things that I picked up that were worth mentioning are a Twisted Spoon, perfect to boost up Porygon's Psybeam, and the ever useful Leftovers. Having scraped everything worth picking up here, we took on the grunts on an easy double battle, and of course, the gym leader appeared right after everything had been dealt with. Now that the trash has been taken out, time to catch some more Pokémon. First I need to catch a Pokémon in the sewers for later. There was an equal chance for a Rattata or a Zubat, but it ended up being the latter. It doesn't matter much, as both can be obtained later. With Zubat now on the team, I went back to the Pokémon Center to buy some more repels, because these things don't last shit, and headed back to the sewers. There, you can find a secret entrance to a small park with some tall grass. There's a catch, however, as here you can find both Rattata and Eevee. Of course, I want the Eevee, and Rattata can be caught elsewhere anyways. That's where Suat came in clutch. By leveling him up to level 18 and using a repel, we can use repel manipulation, which, for those that don't know, is basically using a repel with a low level Pokemon at the front of your party to make only certain Pokemon able to appear. In this case, by having a level 18 Pokemon at the front, Eevee is the only wild Pokemon that can attack us here. Our last stop was the Relic Passage, where by doing the same repel manipulation setup, we can avoid yet again the rat problem in this goddamn city and find an Onix. They really faithfully adapted New York in the Pokemon world. Maybe too well. With that, we have a full team of 6, just in time to challenge the third gym, a bug-type gym led by the conceited artist Burke. But if you look at the team, yeah, the trainers in the gym had no chance at all. In the meantime, I want to ask you for your favorite Pokemon from Generation 1. Subscribe for Charizard, like for Mewtwo, and if your favorite is Lickitung, please throw yourself into a hole and die. In Minecraft and in real life. Woohoo! I don't know what possessed me there. Every Gen 1 Pokemon is sacred and deserves respect. Mine is Mew, by the way. I just love this cute, mischievous little guy. Where were we? Oh, yeah, we were about to put Burke on the casting couch. But before taking this video to Orange YouTube, I headed back to the Relic Passage to fight some trainers and wild Pokemon to fill up my Pokédex. By registering 40 Pokemon, in this building we can find a scientist that rewards us with an Eviolite, which increases both defenses by 50% to not fully evolved Pokemon when held. Unfortunately for Burke, as you may have guessed from our team, it was over from the very beginning. First, Onix can start with a Stealth Rock, which will take 25% HP from all of his Pokemon on entry. Double can't really do much with Struggle Bug, though one does bring us below half with a crit, accomplishing more than the 2 previous ones. But still, a couple of Rock Tombs and a Smackdown squashed the little bug. Obviously, I can stay in against his Ace Livani with a quite effective Razor Leaf. Not that it matters, since Golbat resists the attack, and with the Eviolite, the following area list does nothing too, allowing him to one-shot everyone. Mostly one-shot everyone left on his team. Can you die today, please? Thank you, God. So far, it's been all smooth sailing, as one would expect from this downgrade embarrassment made for kids. Why do I hear boss music? Before we can continue our way to Nimbasa City, there's a fight against Colress, a mysterious man who specializes on steel types, which my team struggles with a lot right now. He starts with his own Magnemite and hit it with Porygon. A Psybeam takes around a third, but he then paralyzes me with a Thunder Wave. There's also constant sand for this battle, and while the leftovers basically negate the chip damage, it does mean they are also technically not healing me. Meanwhile, his Pokemon don't even care. A Spark doesn't do much, and a Psybeam leaves him in the yellow, low enough for Colress to heal with a Super Potion back to full, but yet another Psybeam brings Magnemite back around half. However, here's where the fuckery begins, because I proceed to get fully paralyzed not once, but twice in a row, so I had to recover to heal almost fully. Another Spark takes a little bit, and a Psybeam leaves Magnemite in the red, but next turn I just have to tank another Spark, and then... okay, but the following turn... surely it won't happen 3 times in a row. Oh great, he got a crit. Fuck! Are you fucking kidding me? I got fully paralyzed 5 times, 3 of them in a row. My Porygon must have broken 70 mirrors. Look at 8 Litten, or someone has cursed his entire fucking lineage, because holy shit! Since that happened, I was forced to switch to my own Magnemite to take the Spark, and honestly, I'm surprised it didn't immediately paralyze him too, then connect with a Sonic Boom to finish him. Last is his Clink, but Magnemite completely walls him and electrocutes him to death. Oh my god, that fucking sucked! I hope I don't have to fight that fucker again. As if I didn't have enough already, now I have to go through a desert, where I notably picked up a Mystic Ward to boost water-type moves, some citrus berries, and most importantly the TM for Dig. Mainly because in the desert resort I found a wild Sandshrew for the team, who famously has one of the worst level up learn sets, but still perfect for the electric gym. Once I took everything I needed, I entered the Join Avenue, so I can remind you once again that I have the humor of a 10-year-old and that I'm a dumbass. But I also held everyone here hostage and extorted them for berries. And with some crimes now on our record, we finally set our eyes on Nimbasa City, a city filled with opportunities for us. The first thing to do is head inside the Pokemon Center and pick up our new recruit and immediately evolve into a Sandslash. The gym leader was, once again, not doing their job, so we had to look for her inside this roller coaster that apparently was the gym 2 years ago. Talk about a superficial puzzle, unlike Lieutenant Surge. No! I refuse to finish that sentence. That puzzle is, to this day, the worst ever made for this franchise. The actual gym is a catwalk where you have to beat some trainers. Not really what I would call a puzzle, but at least I can appreciate the straightforwardness. Of course, Sandslash absolutely destroys everyone here, and in the process, Magnemite evolved into Magneton before the fight against Elesa. For starters, we have Emolga, which can't do anything to Onix with any of her attacks, so we can set up Stealth Rocks and a couple of Smackdowns bury the flying Pikachu clone. The following Joltik is packing heat with a quite effective Energy Ball, but that doesn't do anything to our new Magneton, who then gets paralyzed and hit by a soft Pulse Switch and immobilized as Zebstrika comes in. I then swapped into Sandslash on an unexpected stomp, though it still didn't do much. Then take a second one, and a Dick puts the Electric Sear 6 feet under. Joltik comes out again, so it's back into Magneton as Elesa heals the bug with a Hyper Potion. Then he got hit by a Pulse Switch and a Sonic Boom does some damage to the incoming Fluffy. But this one truly can't do anything to Sandslash, confusing him to no avail as he hits a lucky Magnitude 10 for the KO. Only Joltik is left, who at this point has lost 70% of HP throughout the battle, and has yet to do anything meaningful, finally falling to a couple of Sonic Booms, surprisingly not getting fully paralyzed once in that whole interaction. With that, we get our 4th patch, but even more importantly, one of the best TMs we'll get and one of the best moves introduced in this generation, Volt Switch. With the batch in hand, we can go catch an encounter that I didn't bother getting before the gym because I was lazy and left it for the future me. In the depths of the Lost Lorn Forest east of Nimbasa City, with a 5% chance, I found a wild pincer. Eventually. This took a good 15 minutes, but nonetheless, we have a new member for the team. Well, for the bench, as he won't be of much use for now. But speaking of the bench, I brought back Psyduck to the team now that he can evolve into Golduck. And after that we had to fight some stupid grunts, which, you know, I would usually skim through because it would just be filler. But if I covered Colress, this deserves it. This motherfucker has a Watchog that immediately puts Porygon to sleep with a 55% accurate hypnosis. But not only did he hit that, I stayed asleep for the full 3 turns, and he hit all of his 90% accurate Super Fangs, leaving me with only 21 HP. I then swapped into Onix, immediately losing half HP to a Super Fang and somehow outspeeding next turn. But then again, it's an Onix, a Stab Dig doesn't even take half. Sandslash gets immediately confused, but luckily still goes for Magnitude, leaving Watchog with a Sliver and getting put to sleep again. I am about to commit some seriously heinous crimes. But for once I get lucky and only take 1 turn of sleep, taking out the annoying rodent. The other one didn't stand a chance, but what is happening with my luck this run? After that, we head to Route 5 west of Nimbasa, where Bianca gave us the HM4 Fly, perfect for our Golbat, and also explained what a hidden grotto is. It didn't matter then, as I don't want that ugly thing, but it'll be useful for later. There was some kind of plot between the thugs and some sort of Christian guy, but I'm a child that knows better, I shouldn't get involved, especially with the latter. This time the gym is filled to the brim with ground types, meaning that Golduck can go on a field trip drowning them all. Clay was the hardest gym leader yet, because, you know, he doesn't just crumble against a single Pokémon. I started with Onix against his lead Krokorok, and while this may look like a terrible idea, due to how the AI decides what moves to use, since Krokorok is already faster than Onix, he will never go for Bulldoze, even if that is what does the most damage. Instead opting to go for Torment, as I did some Stealth Rocks on the floor. Next turn, he went for a Sandstorm while I used Dig to stall out the sand, because I don't want any shenanigans with Sandbell later on. And then a Crunch didn't do much, with a Rock Slide leaving Krokorok almost at half. With that, I can go into Golduck, eat a Crunch, and retreat with a super effective Water Pulse to finish off Krokorok. The following Onix is incredibly threatening as it has Explosion, which is why I wanted to lay some rocks, breaking his sturdy with a Water Pulse eroding the giant rock snake to nothingness. His next Sandslash can't do much either, as another Water Pulse also takes the kill cleanly. Last is his most threatening Pokémon, Excadrill. This thing's a beast. incredible attack, decent speed, and not terrible bulk thanks to his high HP stat and great typing. Admittedly, the steel type is doing most of the heavy lifting. Expecting the stat ball though, since I'm barely faster, I swapped to Golbat for the immunity, staying in to use Confuse Ray expecting a super effective Rock Slide that I could withstand thanks to a held Eviolite, but for some reason he went for Slash instead, not doing much. With that done, I swapped into Sandslash and the confusion immediately pays off as he hits himself on the switch, and then again next turn, leaving Excadrill almost half, and wide open for a Magnitude to finish the battle, obtaining the 5th patch. That was a clean battle, you love to see it, though he did make some questionable decisions. After the gym, there is a lot of unimportant crap that happened, so I'll cover it very briefly. Clay invited us to participate in the Drift Veil tournament in the Pokemon World Tournament, but for some reason the Pokemon here were at level 25, which was lower than the level cap for the 3rd gym, while we weren't, so I stomped all of the trainers easily. The Team Rocket copycat ended up owning the suspicious ship we saw earlier in Castilla City. We ended up raiding it for some reason. Is there no police in this world? Their teams are weak, but somehow they have literal superhumans in their ranks. This is actually canon, by the way. He storms off crying about something along the lines of revenge and something about a purloin, but I didn't really pay much attention to him as per usual. He's so boring. I stocked up on some super repels for trip through Chargestone Cave and head to Route 6, where I met up with Cheren again and received the Surface Gem in the Season Research Lab. He also talked about a sudden temperature drop near Lacunosa town as low as minus 58 degrees Celsius, which for my US audience is almost as cold as 3 McFlurries and a bag of apple slices. Who the fuck orders this? Once we are inside Chargestone Cave, the only thing worth mentioning is that we got a magnet to boost electric type moves, just in time for the next gym, and finally a Thunderstone. With that last one, once we arrive to Mistralton City, our Eevee can finally evolve into Jolteon, one of my favorite evolutions, and in perfect timing to roast some birds. The gym puzzle is only a teeny tiny bit dangerous, from getting slammed to a wall, to getting a concussion, to having splinters all over your body, and that's not even the worst possible outcome. Yet somehow, it's still safer than the previous version by a long shot. The Pokemon of the gym trainers get roasted by Jolteon's discharge, and the Gym Leader Skyla is no different, as every single one of her Pokemon gets outsped and one-tapped by Jolteon, except for her Skarmory because of Sturdy, but that only delayed the inevitable. To keep me from spreading the humiliation she just received, Skyla took us on a ride on her plane to the other side of the region to Lentimas town. I fucking hate this place. Why is it that most of the settlements in this godforsaken region are biohazards for my lungs in one way or another? Oh yeah, a tortuous hot travel through a volcano later.
What kind of place is this?
We arrived at Andela town, probably the best so far, as it's basically just a small beach resort. Though to be fair, the bar wasn't exactly high. But of course, you had to come here and ruin the ambiance by challenging us to a battle. I don't even know why he bothers to keep doing this. He got spanked around like a child again. His team is awful. It's been a while since the last encounter, so let's go on a little catching spree. The first one is right in front of us, as by surfing in Andela town you can find Wild Staryu, though it took a couple of minutes, or 10, what the hell, it's 30%, it's not that low. Staryu finally made his appearance and was an easy catch, but boy oh boy, there's nothing I would like more than having to wait another 10 minutes to find a Pokemon. We can access Seaside Cave through the Andela Bay entrance, and while it's blocked by this guy, I can still find wild Pokemon, which is all I need, eventually encountering a 10% seal. That's all we can get around Andela town, so it's time to continue and traverse Route 13, beating up some trainers on the way and ignoring this weird thing standing there. Before entering Lacunosa town, there is this one hidden grotto that I can get some use out of, as with patience, luck, and a little bit of finesse, a Tangela magically appears. The nice thing about hidden grottos is that they guarantee hidden abilities on the Pokemon, which means that this Tangle has the incredibly broken ability Regenerator, healing back 33% of its total HP on switching, and considering I won't be able to evolve her into Tangrowth, this pairs amazingly with Eviolite. Once in Lacunosa town, we accompanied the professor and Bianca to talk with an elderly woman about the giant crater besides the town, where the temperature recently dropped, and apparently there is a bloodthirsty Pokemon that eats people at night, which made the villagers from the past fortify the town. Are you kidding me? I stood there for a while not too long ago. I could have become mincemeat. That story gave me the heebie-jeebies, some real bad juju. So the only logical solution was to visit a haunted mansion, where I got a rat and... I gotta get out of here! After beating up an old man with my iron balls, I belong to a Pellucid City, where the next gym is located, and a dragon-type gym is never something fun to hear. We aren't quite done catching just yet though. As west to the city, we can go to Route 9 to catch a wild... Ew! What the fuck is that? Is that a literal pile of garbage? Gross! Who greenlit this design? It's literally a giant pile of garbage with a face and arms. Get him out of my sight! Now we are talking. That's a great Pokemon design. It just exudes that Pokemon vibe. I also happen to be holding the Black Sludge, which is basically leftovers but only for poison types. Backtracking to Village Bridge, in one of these rippling water spots with a 5% chance I can find a Lapras that immediately goes for Perish Song. I want to turn my own skull into a bowl of spaghetti. Luckily, all that I needed was a dive ball, but boy was that nerve-wracking. That's it for now, but before the gym, I did some other stuff, like getting my Seal to level 47 before evolving him so it learns Ice Beam, as Dugong learns it at level 55. But once that's done, we get a beautifully chunky Dugong. You will be surprised by how much he does in this run. With that, it's time to go to a Pokemon World Tournament to do some business with the move relearner, allowing me to reteach Lapras and Dugong Ice Shard and Poison Powder to Tangela. And finally, I taught Ice Punch to Mach through the Drift Veil move tutor. Everything starts with a beefy Dratigon and I sent Onix to set up Stealth Rocks. I was expecting a revenge, which could never kill with a doubled power, but instead he went for a resisted Rock Slide.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Good old Rock. Nothing beats that.
I can switch into Tangela, taking nothing from his attacks thanks to Eviolite, and allowing her to connect with a 75% accurate Poison Powder. A knockoff gets rid of his healthy Citrus Berry as a crunch brings Tangela to half. That's our cue to leave, switching back into Onix to tank the attack, and then back to Tangela, who is fairly healthy again thanks to Regenerator. After some more stalling, Drayden heals his Dratigon with a Hyper Potion, as I went for Tickle to lower his attack. Swapped around to regain more HP, then back and continued tickling till -3, Giga Drain to the red, and Dratigon fell to the poison. Altaria is next, losing a quarter HP from the rocks. Tangela has done her part, so it's time to pass the torch to Mach to decimate him with an Ice Punch. However, by the time Mach attacks, Altaria has increased his defense to +6. It sure would be a shame if the attack critted. Flareon comes in threatening with an Earth Power, but that isn't something Tangela can tank, and then also suck the life out of his eyes with a couple of Giga Drains, leaving him with a Sliver. Now I can switch into Dugong to avoid baiting next scissors later on, tank an Earth Power above half, and go for a priority Aqua Jet. Last is Haxorus. For him, I swapped into Magneton as he went for a Dragon Dance, then he went for another one as Magneton cripples him with a Thunder Wave. Since this is old paralysis mechanics, his speed is reduced 75%, making him slower than Lapras even at +3, and she can destroy his Ace with an Ice Gem boosted Ice Beam thanks to the rocks, earning us the Legend badge from Drayden. With our 7th patch at hand, I went ahead and got some nice upgrades for the team before continuing our way for the last patch. First things first, I went back to Route 13 and surfed to get the Psychic TM for Staryu. And speaking of Staryu, since in this generation Stone evolutions don't get many moves, I went back to a move relearner to remind him recover before evolving him into a Starmie. Drayden then told us about some boring lore about an original dragon that split itself into another two, leaving only a husk that became the monster back in Lacnosa. The story, however, was interrupted by a sudden explosion, and as it turns out, that team of wannabes not only has a ship, but it was a literal flying frigate, which also shoots beams that freeze everything they touch. Okay, I see you. You guys have actually earned my respects, Team Plasma. That is pretty cool. Hey? Get it?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
The grunts are still pretty pathetic though, only wasting my time. And while those weird ninjas do have superhuman abilities, they aren't great trainers, though they did get what they were looking for by distracting me. Going back to Andela Town, the Marine Tube is now opened and we can access Humalao City, though before arriving to the city, this woman with the umbrella gave us the TM for Facade, which will be incredibly useful in the near future. This last gym is a water one, and considering that we have Jolteon and plenty of other Pokemon that hit water super effectively and or resist it, the trainers inside the gym pose no threat, and neither does the gym leader Marlon really. Jolteon can discharge his way through his lead Wailord and the following Mantine. Caracosta has Sturdy, but a crit Rock Slide never KOs, so another discharge takes him out. Last is Jellicent, who Jolteon can't take out in one hit, so instead I opted for Volt Switch, taking half, although a health Citrus Berry heals back a lot, and brought in Magneton, tanking a resisted Shadow Ball. Skull does big damage, and also burns, and I don't know where I miscalced, but Jellicent survived with a Sliver, which I didn't expect. A crit with a burn could have killed Magneton, but we lucked out fortunately. Marlon now heals with Hyper Potion, but I take this opportunity to Volt Switch out, taking more than half, letting Jolteon back in, and she can outspeed and finish the battle with a discharge. And that was our last gym badge, obtaining the Wave badge to complete our collection. Only the Pokemon League remains. Or, at least that's what I would've liked to do, as first we have to take care of Team Plasma under threat to cause a new Ice Age. So it was time for me to go once again and infiltrate their frigid, beat up everyone in there, not look up the password online, shut up, and beat up an old man who is suffering a constant existential crisis.
Shadow, try it! Get rid of these meddling children!
Nothing personnel, kid. I hope you realize this means war. Team Plasma fled to a giant chasm. I had to enter their ship a third time, beat up their grunts, and how many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? And I have not forgotten what you did to me in the past, Science Man. I've come here to destroy your science to see. It starts with a Magneton, and isn't Lapras. And while this may look stupid, well I am, but this is the best I could come up with. Volt Switch can kill, even with a crit, however, instead of that he went for a Thunder Wave to paralyze my Lapras, but I had a Cherry Berry prepared. This way I avoid repeating my previous mistakes and use Hail. Hail will break up Sturdy on his Magneton and Magnezone. I could have done this with Onix and Stealth Rock. Oh, wait. Since an electric type move was coming, I was able to send Sandslash for free and use Earthquake to bury Magneton alive. Next is his Magnezone, and for this one I went for Dig instead, so that the Hail breaks Sturdy to shatter him next turn in one hit. The following BGM has Energy Ball, so I swapped him to Magneton, but instead he went for Calm Mind to boost his special stats. Magneton is still faster though, and a Signal Beam takes the KO instantly thanks to a lucky critical hit, but it's not like he was much of a threat. He says Klinklang is next, but thanks to Magneton's typing and his health Eviolite, Klinklang can't do much damage to them, opting instead to increase his attack and speed with a Shift Gear. But it seems luck is on my side this time, as Magneton gets another critical hit for another one-hit KO. Last is his Metang, but just like the previous one, he can't do anything and also falls to discharge. Well, time for a kid to finish off a giant crime mafia. Some things truly never change, huh? But before climactic final battle, I went back to the Pokemon World Tournament to use some battle points I got by running a crypto scam to some gullible morons to buy the TMs for Protect and U-Turn.
Do it, Kyurem. Use Glaciate. Impale that bastard alive.
Finally, the sweet relief of death. Do it. Put me down at last. Oh, god damn it. By the miracle of arithmetics, now we have to fight one half of the original dragon, but he's for a rude awakening to the modern times, by the hands of Pins of Dugong. Kyurem-White may have some godlike stats, but he's but a paltry worm in front of Dugong, who can always take a hit, losing close to half HP to a Dragon Breath and connecting with a Toxic. Thanks to the leftovers and Protect, Dugong can recover some HP and avoid a Fusion Flare. Then, as he starts charging up an Ice Burn, I went for Aquaring to heal even more HP. And with that, the battle is over, as Ice Burn doesn't do that much damage since it's squad resisted, and Dugong has Anchor, forcing him to keep using the move, leaving Kyurem to slowly die from the Toxic. Team Plasma's leader Ghetsis wasn't particularly happy about his oh so grand scheme coming to an end because of a middling teenager. Apparently again, this sure is a common occurrence in the Pokemon world. In a fit of rage, he decided to take matters into his own hands by challenging me to a battle. Of course, since I was ambushed, I was forced to start with Dugong against his Cofagrigus. We both went for Toxic, the only difference is that I connected and he didn't, proving which one of us is the better trainer, and was completely not luck dependent. Now Dugong can outspeed and force him to keep using Toxic with an Anchor, falling poisoned myself, before swapping to Eradicate to also fall poisoned, though this time is good as it activates Guts. Unfortunately, while Eradicate could take care of him, I don't want to lose Eradicate's Guts ability due to Mami, so I had to switch to Dugong on the Toxic, and then to Magneton on a resisted Shadow Ball, allowing him to use Volt Switch for the KO, and to bring in Eradicate. Ghetsis sent Seismitoad next because of Drain Punch, but a double power Guts boosted Facade is a clean one-hit KO, and the same thing happened to the following Toxicroak, but Drapion is bulky enough to survive one. With that in mind, I U-turned out, taking over half thanks to a crit and allowing me to bring in Sandslash on a Night Slash that takes under a third, then taking another one and retaliating with an Earthquake to finish the job. His Ace High Dragon is next, and while the Life Orb boosted attacks do plenty for being resisted, they are not enough to take on Magneton's bulk thanks to an Eviolite, and 2 Signal Beams take him out, only leaving his Electros. This one's pretty annoying due to all the coverage he has. Knowing that he would go for a Flamethrower, I Volt Switch out for a bit of damage, and brought in Goldak, tanking the attack, unfortunately getting burned. But it doesn't really matter, as now I can go back into Magneton for the Thunderbolt, rinse and repeat, leaving him in the yellow, low enough for a Surf to take the KO, foiling Ghetsis' plans one last time, and finishing Team Plasma for good. With Team Plasma finally gone and all 8 badges in hand, it was time for the Pokémon League, though before heading to Victory Road, now that Team Plasma was gone, we can access this hidden grotto that was blocked before, where we can find a Ditto with the hidden ability Imposter and snatch it quickly with a Master Ball. This wasn't particularly important, as he never leaves the box, but I wanted to at least mention it. Now we can actually head to Victory Road, where we got the HM for Waterfall, which opened up a final encounter for the run, but before we go and catch it, I decided to take my time traversing this final stretch before the league, beating up all kinds of trainers in the process, and even our self-proclaimed rival, Hugh, who was still pathetically weak compared to our magnificent team, and was swiftly dealt with. Though he did give us the Thunderbolt TM, pretty useful for our team. And with the flying point saved, we can fly to Route 14 south to Andela Town. Now that we have Waterfall, I can climb up these, well, waterfalls and access the Abundance Shrine. In this place there's another hidden grotto, this time containing a Vulpix with the incredible ability Drought, which sets up Harsh Sun indefinitely in this generation. This one is relevant as he will be joining the final team. Then he went around the region and grabbed the TMs for Rest and Taunt, evolves Vulpix into Ninetales, and took a couple of moves from the move tutors. With that, time for the Pokémon League. Holy shit, this team looks like... Can't believe I'm taking an Onix to the Pokémon League. But it's not like that has ended up poorly for anyone before.
What did I say, Brayden? What did I say? Fuck? What did I say?
We can choose the order we fight them on, so I decided to start with the least problematic one, the Ghost type nerd Shauntal. Our first Pokemon is a Cofagrigus. Having some real deja vu here, and I started with Magneton. Speaking of deja vu, starting with a Toxic did not help. Neither did her missing a Will-O-Wisp. Next turn, a Thunderbolt leaves him in the yellow, while a resisted Shadow Ball does nothing to our trusty Steel type. Then to finish her off with a Volt Switch, allowing Eradicate to come in for free. With that, all of her remaining Pokemon fall top priority Sucker Punch apiece, thanks to the boost from a pair of held black glasses and the Guts attack buff. Next we are taking on Grimsley and his dark types, and by taking on I mean Eradicate comes out, protects to avoid a fake out from his Liepard, and then facades his way through her and his Scrafty. Then U-turns out for half of Crocodile's HP, letting Tangela come in, tank a crunch, and sack the remaining life out of Crocodile with a Giga Drain, almost back to full HP. Absol is next, who short stances as I swapped into Magneton, but then got greedy and did it again, which meant her demise, as a single Signal Beam one-shots, leaving only V-Sharp. And since Absol didn't even touch us, Bishop has no chance against the wall that is Eviolite Magneton, falling to a couple of Thunderbolts. The battle against the Psychic type Elite for Caitlyn was pretty funny because somehow Onyx was incredibly useful. Thanks to his surprisingly good, decent speed stat, he outspeeds Musharna and taunts her, and since Musharna's only damaging move is Dream Eater, she can do anything, so I'm free to set up Stealth Rock and lower her defense harshly with a Screech. Now Eradicate can come in and use Facade for the one-shot, and same thing for her Uniqlos. Metagross, on the other hand, is a bit of a problem due to his typing and held Life Orb, dealing tons of damage to my bulkier Pokémon and even resisted targets. But by doing this switching around, the Life Orb recoil stacks up, leaving him low enough for an Electric Gem boosted Thunderbolt to take the KO. Her Sigilyph isn't much of a problem, as a Psychic deals some pathetic damage, and thanks to the hazards, a Volt Switch is strong enough to defeat this one too, and helps Eradicate hit the field without getting attacked. Only Gothitelle is left, and she suffered the same fate as her first two Pokémon, as Eradicate radicated all over her with her Facade. Last is Marshal and his fighting types, and against all odds, I started with Onyx again against his throw, mainly to set up Stealth Rocks to break his socks sturdy, as he tried to hit a Rock Tomb for some reason. I mean, it's because I'm faster, but I was expecting a Bulldoze. Next turn, I harshly lowers his defense with a Screech, and this time he does go for Bulldoze, but it doesn't do much thanks to a held Eviolite. However, now that he is faster thanks to a speed drop, Throw went for Storm Throw instead, which always crits, leaving us in the yellow as I hit another Screech. With a switch into Tangela, I take the Storm Throw pretty well, and heal with leftovers and by using Protect. Then hit a Giga Drain for around a third as Throw went for a Bulldoze. After tanking another attack, Sleep Powder puts him to sleep, allowing me to switch into Eradicate as Throw takes his first turn of sleep, and a Facade can take the KO, and also Mian Xiao. His Ice Conkeldurr on the other hand is far too bulky for her, so he's opting to start me to take the resisted Hammer Arm, as he gets burned by a held Flame Orb. With a Protect, the burn deals some damage, leaving him in range for a Twisted Spoon boosted Psychic to eviscerate him. The following Lucario can't do much, so he's opting to Ninetales as he went for a Calm Mind. But even with the increased special defense, a Sun boosted Charcoal boosted Flamethrower always takes the KO, even without the crit. The only one left is his Sock, but after being put to sleep by Tangela, Eradicate returns to the field to claim his last Elite Four victim. The fucking rat is a beast, holy fucking shit. All that's left is to beat up the new Unova champion, Iris. Children really do rule this world, huh? She leads with a Hydreigon, and I start with none other than our bloodlusted rat, instantly taking out the dragon with a Facade. Her Dradigon also follows the same fate, but since Eragon could go for any attack in this range, I can't risk going for take on a possible Earthquake. That's why I swapped into Onyx with an Air Balloon equipped, tanking a head smash above half. Now it's time for the funniest shit that happened in this entire run, Earth Power being an optimal move on Onyx. But since his attacking stats aren't that far apart, but Acheron's defensive stats are, this results in Earth Power being the only move that can actually take the KO in a single hit. Never in my fucking life did the idea of using Earth Power being optimal on Onyx cross my mind. Then again, the idea of using Onyx also didn't cross my mind. Rock Snake, more like Earth Snake, am I right guys? It isn't a very good Pokemon is what I'm trying to say. The following Lapras threatens with a quite effective Hydro Pump, but by switching into Ninetales, thanks to Drought it really takes close to half, and then I can go for Roleplay, a move that copies the target's ability, making Ninetales immune to Water type moves. Though she ends up going for Sing, missing, and then I try to go for Toxic, also missing, and end up falling asleep to a second Sing, but held Lumberry heals it. What was that Looney Tunes ass exchange? Next turn I do connect with Toxic, but she also does with Sing again. Then a Thunder leaves us deep in the yellow. Unfortunately here I decided to stay in, as Ninetales would be the least important loss. If she doesn't wake up now, it'll mean the end for Ninetales, and sadly, he stays asleep. But for some reason, Lapras went for Blizzard, and without a crit, it leaves Ninetales in the red. We are not out of the woods yet, as this turn isn't a guaranteed wake up, but Ninetales does wake up, to take a power nap immediately, healing back to full HP. With this, we finally get some luck, as Lapras misses a 50% accurate Thunder, and only hits a weak Blizzard before getting healed by a full restore. Which means that we have to poison him again next turn, and so it's back to sleep to heal a bit, and avoid getting paralyzed, until Lapras is in the yellow and we wake up to finish the dinosaur with a sun boosted Flamethrower. Archeops is easy, as Onix can enter and not take much damage from his attacks, setting up Stealth Rocks. Now Magneton can come in, take nothing and finish the prehistoric bird with a single Volt Switch, also letting us bring in Starmie as his Ace Haxorus comes in. Thanks to the rocks, his health focus dash becomes useless, and by paralyzing her with a Thunder Wave we can ignore the speed buffs from Dragon Dance. An Ice Beam leaves her deep in the yellow, and she also gets fully paralyzed, so another Ice Beam finishes the job, defeating Champion Iris and giving us the victory, beating Pokemon White 2 using only Generation 1 Pokemon. We did it, baby! And it only took a mildly awful team. Holy shit, this is... For fuck's sake, the team's BST average barely reaches 450. That's awful. Normally it should be over 500 at this point in the game. But anyways, I've proved once and for all that there is nothing quite like the originals. This joke got old like 5 minutes in. I don't know, it sounded funny in the beginning when I recorded the run, but it got boring to even write like halfway in. But oh well, the deed is done, and you know what I'm about to say. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, share it with your friend. Who am I kidding? You're watching a video of a guy playing Pokemon. Clearly you do not have that luxury. Share it with your parents or something. I've lost interest. Sora out.